Let us close the door. Let us turn off the noise of the street. Let us silence the opinions of the newspapers and the chatter of the brokers. Just you, me, and the truth. You are here because you are tired. You are tired of the struggle. You are tired of watching the tape spin, watching the numbers flicker, feeling your heart race with every tick up and every tick down. You are tired of the exhilaration of a win being instantly washed away by the crushing weight of a loss. You are looking for the secret. You are looking for the key that unlocks the vault. I will tell you the secret, but you will not like it. It is not a formula. It is not a pattern on a chart. It is not a piece of inside information whispered in a cigar lounge. The secret is silence. The secret is inactivity. The secret is the art of doing absolutely nothing. There is a widely held delusion in this business, a sickness really, that to make money, one must be constantly working. We are raised from childhood with the belief that labor equals reward. If a man digs a ditch for 8 hours, he receives 8 hours of pay. If he works 12 hours, he receives more. We bring this ditch digger mentality to the stock market. We sit at our desks, we stare at the screens, and we feel a guilt, a deep gnawing guilt if we are not doing something, if we are not buying, if we are not selling, if we are not churning our capital. We feel that we are lazy. We feel that we are missing out. We feel that our money is unemployed. And so what do? We invent reasons to trade. We look at a chart that is doing nothing, a market that is drifting aimlessly, and our brain, desperate for action, desperate for the dopamine of the game, hallucinates a pattern. There, you say, it is breaking out. There, you say, it has hit support, but it hasn't. It is just noise. It is just the market breathing. And you step in, you place your bet, and slowly, painfully, the market grinds you down. It takes a point here, a half point there, commissions, slippage, stress. You are bleeding to death from 1,000 paper cuts, all because you could not sit on your hands. The market does not pay you for your time. The market does not care how many hours you sit in front of the screen. The market pays you for one thing and one thing only, being right. And to be right, truly right, requires a patience that is so rare it is almost a superpower. I have made millions of dollars. I have lost millions of dollars. And when I look back at the ledger of my life, the conclusion is inescapable. I never made big money from my thinking. I made it from my sitting. Got that? My sitting. Men who can be right are common. I have met many men who can call the turn of a market. They look at the tape and say, it's going up, and they are right. But they have no money. Why? Because they cannot sit tight. They get the direction right, but they get the timing wrong, or they get the patience wrong. They buy, the stock wobbles, they get scared, they sell, then the stock moves exactly where they said it would, but they are watching from the sidelines. Or they buy, the stock goes up, they see a profit, they get excited, they sell to secure the win, and then the stock doubles, triples, quadruples, and they are left with pennies while the market hands out fortunes. To be right and to sit tight, that is the rarest combination of all. And that is the only way to take the big money out of the market. Think of the market not as a battlefield, but as a train station. Most of you are running up and down the platform, jumping on every train that moves. You jump on a freight train going the wrong way. You jump on a handcar that goes nowhere. You exhaust yourself running. The professional, he sits on a bench. He smokes his cigar. He reads his newspaper. He waits for the express train. He knows the schedule. He knows what the engine sounds like. He does not move for the local trains. He does not move for the false starts. He waits. And when the express train arrives, the one with the power, the one with the momentum, the one that is destined for the coast, he steps on board. He does not run. He walks. He takes his seat, and he rides it until it reaches the destination. And that is the difference. One man is working himself to death for scraps. The other is wresting his way to riches. But let us go deeper. Let us talk about why this is so difficult. Why is it that you cannot wait? It is because you are addicted to the frequency of the reward, not the size of the reward. You want to win today. You want to feel good now. The human brain is not wired for the long game. It is wired for the quick fix. When you are in a trade, you feel alive. You feel part of the great flow of commerce. When you are in cash, you feel dead. You feel isolated. You look at the tape and you see others making money or claiming to make money, and you feel a jealousy that rots your judgment. Look at steel, you say. It moved 3 points today. If I had bought this morning, I would have $3,000. That is the voice of the amateur. That is the voice of the sucker. If I had, I could have, I should have. The market is full of should-haves. They pave the road to the poorhouse. You must understand that the market has two phases. There is the time to sow and the time to reap. And between them, there is the time to grow. If you dig up the seeds every day to see if they are growing, you kill the crop. Most of the time, the market is in a state of confusion. It is finding its level. It is absorbing news. It is shaking out the weak hands. During these times, the price fluctuations are meaningless. They are random. To trade during these times is gambling, pure and simple. It is betting on the flip of a coin. But then rarely the stars align. The accumulation is finished. The weak hands are gone. The line of least resistance is established. The fundamental conditions shift, and the market begins a primary movement, a movement that will last for months, perhaps years. This is the big swing. All the money, the life-changing money, the generational wealth is made in the big swing. It is not made by scalping 2 points. It is made by catching a move of 50 points, 100 points. And to catch the big swing, you must be in the position before it becomes obvious to the crowd. And you must stay in the position through all the noise, all the corrections, all the scares, until the movement is exhausted. And how do you do this? You do it by folding your weak hands. Imagine you are playing poker. If you play every hand you are dealt, you will go bankrupt. It is a mathematical certainty. You cannot win with a pair of twos every time. The professional poker player folds 80% of his hands. He sits there, he watches the other players, he learns their tells, he preserves his chips, he is patient. And then he looks down and sees aces. Does he get excited? No. He gets focused, he pushes his chips in. He plays hard, he plays big. Your capital is your chips. Every time you take a mediocre trade, you are chipping away at your stack. You are paying commissions. You are taking small losses. You are eroding your confidence. When the great opportunity finally arrives, and it always arrives, you are either too poor to take advantage of it or too psychologically damaged to pull the trigger. You have trader's fatigue. You are shell-shocked from fighting unnecessary battles. Preserve your ammunition. Save your powder for the elephant. Do not shoot at the rabbits. Now, I want to talk to you about hope and fear. These are the two great destroyers of the speculator, but the tragedy is that the average trader uses them in reverse. When you are in a losing trade, what do? You say, I will give it one more day. You say, it cannot go lower. You say, I am an investor now. You hope. You hope for a recovery. You hope for a miracle. You clutch onto that losing trade like a drowning man clutching a stone. And because you hope, you do not cut the loss. The small loss becomes a big loss. The big loss becomes a catastrophe. The catastrophe wipes you out. In a losing trade, you must fear. You must be terrified that the small loss will grow. You must have the cowardice to run away instantly. You must cut the loss the moment the market tells you you are wrong. No questions, no hesitation, no hope. Just the cold blade of the sell order. But when you are in a winning trade, that is when you panic. You see a profit. It is green on your screen. It looks beautiful. And suddenly you are terrified. You fear that the market will take it back. You fear that the trend will reverse. You say, I better take this profit while I have it. No one ever went broke taking a profit. That is the stupidest saying on Wall Street. No one ever went broke taking a profit. True. But no one ever got rich taking a 4-point profit in a 50-point bull market. In a winning trade, you must hope. You must hope that this is the start of a giant. You must hope that the trend will continue. You must give the trade room to breathe. You must suppress your greed for cash and replace it with a greed for the trend. Do you see? You must reverse your nature. You must fear losses and hope for profits. The amateur fears the loss of profit and hopes for the recovery of a loss. It is a suicide pact with your own psychology. Let us discuss the pivot point. I do not buy blindly. I do not guess. I wait for the market to give me a signal. I call this the pivot point. It is a psychological barrier. It is a price level where the battle between the buyers and the sellers is decided. For weeks, a stock may batter against a price. let's say $100. It goes to 99, drops to 90, goes to 99, drops to 92. It cannot break through. The sellers are parked there. The supply is heavy. The amateur buys at 95, hoping it goes to 100. He sells at 98. He plays the range. I wait. I watch 100. 100 is the gate. One day the volume swells. The tape speeds up. The price hits 100 and goes through 100, 101, 102. That is the pivot point. That is the starting gun. The resistance has been overcome. The sellers are exhausted. The path is clear. That is when I buy. I do not buy at the bottom. I buy at the start. But Jesse, you say, you are paying a higher price. Why not buy at 90? Because at 90, I do not know if it will ever go to 100. At 90, it is a gamble. At 101, it is a certainty, or as close to a certainty as this game allows. I am not looking for a bargain. I am looking for a probability. I want to buy strength, not weakness. I want to buy what is already moving, not what is lying on the floor. And once I enter, I watch how the stock behaves. If it acts right, if it confirms my judgment, I do something that terrifies most men. I buy more. The amateur averages down. He buys at 100. It drops to 90. He buys more to lower his average price. Now I only need it to go to 95 to break even, he tells himself. He is digging his own grave. He is throwing good money after bad. He is proving that he is wrong, and he is backing his error with more cash. I average up. I buy at 100. It goes to 105. I buy more. It goes to 110. I buy more. Why? Because the market is telling me I am right. I back my winners. I starve my losers. Think of your trades like employees. You have 10 employees. 5 of them are lazy, steal from the register and do no work. 5 of them are brilliant, hardworking, and bring in huge sales. Who do you give the bonus to? Who do you give more resources to? The hard workers. Who do you fire? The lazy ones. But in trading, the amateur fires his winners, sells them for a quick profit, and keeps his losers, holds them hoping they will improve. He fills his portfolio with incompetent employees and wonders why his business is failing. It is insanity. And yet, knowing all of this, knowing the rules, knowing the logic, it is still the hardest thing in the world to do because of the loneliness. To be a speculator is to be alone. You must be a lone wolf. You cannot run with the pack. The pack is always wrong. The pack is driven by emotion, by mass hysteria, by comfort. When the market is crashing, when blood is in the streets, when the newspapers are predicting the end of the world, the pack is selling in a panic. To buy then requires you to stand alone against the world, to trust your judgment when everyone tells you you are crazy. And when the market is booming, when the shoe shine boy is giving you stock tips, when your neighbor is mortgaging his house to buy copper stocks, the pack is buying. To sell then, to cash out and stand aside, requires an iron will. You will be ridiculed, you will be doubted, you will be tempted. Friends will come to you with sure things. My cousin works at the railroad, they will say. They are going to merge. Buy now. It is poison. Even if the tip is true, it is poison. Because if you make money on a tip, you learn nothing. You become dependent on the tipster. What happens when the tipster is gone? What happens when the tipster is wrong? You have no method. You have no confidence. You are a cripple leaning on a crutch. I would rather lose money following my own plan than make money following someone else's. Because if I lose on my own plan, I can analyze it, I can learn, I can correct it. The loss is tuition. I have paid for a lesson. But if I lose on a tip, I have learned nothing except that people are liars. You must build your own wall. You must insulate yourself. I used to trade in a silent office, no ticker tape noise, no conversation, just the numbers. I did not want to hear the human voice. The human voice carries fear, it carries greed, it carries hope. I only wanted the voice of the market. Let me tell you about the tuition of the market. You will lose. Get that through your head right now. You will lose money. It is the cost of doing business. It is the overhead. A shopkeeper pays rent. A manufacturer pays for raw materials. A trader pays in losses. Do not hate the loss. Respect it. The loss is your teacher. The loss is the market telling you gently or brutally that you are out of sync. The problem is not the loss. The problem is the ego. You take the loss personally. You feel it is an insult to your intelligence. You try to argue with the market. You try to get your money back from the same stock that took it from you. You get angry. The market does not care about your anger. It is a cold, unfeeling machine. If you get angry, you get blind. And a blind trader is a dead trader. When you take a loss, accept it. I was wrong. Smile. Clear the slate. Your mind must be as clear as a mountain lake. If the water is muddied with emotion, you cannot see the bottom. You cannot see the danger. There is a strange paradox in this game. The less you care about the money, the more of it you will make. If you trade because you need the money to pay the rent, you will lose. The pressure will destroy your judgment. You will take profits too soon because you need the cash. You will cut losses too late because you cannot afford to take the hit, and you must trade with a detachment. You must treat the dollars like points in a video game. They are just a way of keeping score. This brings me back to the beginning, the waiting. When you are waiting, you are not idle. You are watching. You are stalking. You are preparing your mind. You are visualizing the trade. If it hits 100, I will buy. If it drops to 98, I will get out. If it goes to 110, I will add. You rehearse the scenario. You prepare for the worst. You accept the risk before you place the bet. So when the moment comes, you do not hesitate. There is no fear. There is only execution. Click, done. Most people hesitate. They see the pivot point. They see the breakout, and they freeze. Is it real? They ask. Maybe I should wait for a pullback. And while they are thinking, the stock moves. 101, 102, 103. Now they are chasing. Now they are buying out of desperation, not calculation. The waiting gives you the power to strike. I want you to look at your trading history. Look at your last 10 trades. Be honest. How many of them were part of a big swing? How many of them were based on a clear, undeniable pivot point? And how many were just boredom? How many were just you trying to be clever? How many were you trying to catch a falling knife? Eliminate the boredom trades. Eliminate the impulse trades. Eliminate the tips. What is left? Maybe only 3 or 4 trades a year. Can you survive making only 4 trades a year? Let me tell you, you will not only survive, you will thrive. You will sleep better. You will look younger. And your bank account will grow in ways you cannot imagine, because those 4 trades will be the ones that matter. They will be the giants. And because you have not wasted your capital on the garbage, you will be able to back those giants with everything you have. It is a lonely path. It is a boring path. It is a path that requires you to conquer your own human nature. But it is the only path to the mountaintop. The market is a mirror. If you are chaotic, your results will be chaotic. If you are disciplined, your results will be disciplined. Stop looking for the magic indicator. Stop looking for the guru. Look in the mirror. Can you sit? Can you wait? Can you hold your fire until you see the whites of their eyes? If you can, the world is yours. If you can't, you are just liquidity for the men who can. The choice, as always, is yours. Fold the weak hands, sit on your cash, watch, wait. And when the time comes, strike without mercy. But you do not have to walk this path in the dark. You think your pain is unique? You think your mistakes are new? They are not. The market hasn't changed because human nature hasn't changed. Many years ago, I sat with a man named Lefèvre. I told him everything. The panic of 1907, the cotton trades, the millions made and the millions lost. I held nothing back because I wanted the truth of this business to be known. He wrote it all down in a book. Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. Most people read it as a story. They read it for entertainment. Do not make that mistake. It is not a novel. It is a textbook on human psychology disguised as a biography. It is a map of the minefield you are walking through right now. I have left the path to this book below. It is there for the taking. Do not ignore it. If you want to understand why you lose, if you want to see the traps before you step into them, go back to the source. Read it. Study it. It is the only inheritance I can leave you. You can find the way, but only if you are willing to listen to the ghosts of the past. School is out. The market opens tomorrow. Be ready.